So to make the stars for the top, I'm using the sugar paste that was left from covering the cake, and I've coloured some of it to a deepish blue colour using some paste food colour. All the time I'm not using it, I keep it well wrapped in the plastic. So I've broken off a piece and I'm going to roll it out on some icing sugar. I find it's easier to work on smaller pieces of this rather than cutting out lots of stars all at one time. So it needs to be rolled out quite thinly. Lift it to make sure that it hasn't stuck to the table, and then use the cutters to cut out the star shapes. And I'm putting them on a board, it's just a spare cake board that I've put a sheet of baking parchment on so that they won't stick. And then they'll need to be left on this to dry overnight. So with the blue stars, although I've done my best to make sure that there's no icing sugar on them, there's often a small amount that does remain. So to get them a nice deep colour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steam them. And I find the easiest way for this is to use a steam iron with a jet of steam. I'm going to do it off the stars to begin with, just to make sure that nothing spurts out. And then when there's a lot of steam, I'm going to hold it over the stars, just quite briefly, until they go shiny. And now I leave them to dry overnight, and they'll keep that nice deep blue colour. So when the stars have dried overnight, they'll be firm enough that you can pick them up to handle them. I've made white and blue stars, and the white ones I'm going to put glitter on them. So I'm going to brush the surface and around the edge with some edible glue. You can buy this edible glue from most cake decorating supply shops. So then I'm going to put it down and sprinkle some glitter over it. Then I'm going to put some glue into the centre of a blue star and use a small palette knife to help lift up the white one and tap off any of the excess glitter, and then rest it on top of the blue one and press it together well. Now this glue is non-toxic, but we do recommend that you remove these stars from the cake before you eat them. So when you've stuck the two layers together, you need to put some edible glue onto the back and then press it onto the cake. Just hold it down briefly while it sticks. I'm going to tie a ribbon around the cake, and I'm using a ribbon with a wired edge as it's easier to make a nice bow. If you have time, it's also easier to let the cake dry overnight, because then the sugar paste is firmer and it won't mark. So if you make a mistake with the bow and you need to take it off and redo it, you can. But if the sugar paste is still soft, then it will mark the sugar paste and it will show. So with the wired edges, you can pull the loops into a nice shape. So that's the finished Christmas cake.